Hey everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Platinum Widow player. I think we're also going to see some Ashe and maybe some Reaper, but we'll call it a Plat Sniper. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and
You know,
subscribe, as
Anna,
that really
there
does
are
help me out quite a
procedures we
bit.
could look
Or if you are
into to
looking to get
improve.
coaching yourself,
You're
you can
very
join
kind,
my Discord in the
but
description below,
unfortunately you
see
are
what rates
gambling.
look like, all sorts
It's a
of good
good
stuff.
reminder.
Are we holding down S? What are we up to here? This is weird.
Location: hot, dry, unpleasant. Ideal for hand swimmers.
Five, four, three, two, one. Attackers incoming.
Comme cet aimable de ta part.
Escort the payload.
Okay, good, fine.
Damage increased.
Mm-hmm.
They're all over me.
Hello there.
Merci.
Take the angle. I prefer the wider one, but this works.
Let's keep it moving.
Why? Did we really expect him to crack that? Like, that just looks like a waste of a
Merci.
shot to me.
Enemies detected.
Fine.
Get here.
That's weird that we even took that shot rather than just reflicking over to the McCree, to be honest. Like, that shield is cracked. It's pretty cracked, but that we expected him to flash that. Like, if there's no other targets available, sure, and I get it. Sometimes they flash shield, sometimes the shield breaks, etc. Hey, you'd rather do damage than not do damage. But even when you took that shot, there were other targets that were pretty darn available without anyone looking at you. So I'm surprised that you went for that, because now you have to wait for this to recharge. And that might not feel like much, but you're waiting for this to recharge. And that's that second shot at Ryan when there's better targets available. Okay. Might have actually been early. Let me just take a look here. Fine. Okay. This is the one I'm really curious about. Now you shot that at 88, but I guess your Winston was zapping her, so you could have taken a partial shot. Okay. I don't really like that you're choosing to advance here rather than swing out here. Swinging out here, like you're going, hey, I want to get more aggressive. I want to take a more aggressive angle, but this is a really aggressive angle. You're probably not going to be punished, but this is a really aggressive angle. I would usually expect and more look for a transition to here. You're still taking a different angle, opens up more sight lines for your team, etc. Okay. By the way, still no Venom Mine out there. So that Venom Mine against their team, you do have a pretty good feel. Hey, they're not going to advance on me, etc. They're probably not going to walk up a flank. So you could go, hey, I'm going to mine the flank anyways, or you could mine yourself a little bit, which is going to help you in case the Echo dives you, for example. But hey, okay, let's take a look. Hey, Alice. Yeah, see, you didn't even like your spot here. Like, as we take a look, you're here. You're thinking, I want to get aggressive. You just lost your Winston that's in there. You're continuing to get aggressive. And then you change your mind and you use your grapple. Again, the better rotation was just out to here. You still get a different angle. You don't care that they're further away. You have a scope. Like, this was the place to go. This is kind of because you used grapple. This is more than kind of because you used grapple. It's because you used grapple to go back to your spot because you took the aggressive spot. So let's take a look here. You did have a tiny bit of warning there. We did get to see the echo go across our screen, and we got to hear the sound effect. You go in here for the scope. Yeah, that's fine. You try to take your one shot, and you now have 5 seconds on grapple. I'm not sure why you now aim down. Like, why does your crosshair go down from, hey, I took this shot here and bring it down here. Like, that would make sense if you were going to grapple away, but your grapple's still on cooldown. So you can either try to go, hey, I'm going to try to charge another partial shot to hit you, or you can go, I'm releasing my scope and I'm SMGing you down, Widow 76ing whatever, which is perfectly valid at this point. She's weak enough, and you retain your movement speed, you can strafe a little better, etc. So like, but in either of those cases, you just unscope. You continue looking at her. Or you stay scoped and you charge up another shot and you take the shot at her. Like, in no situation do you drag your crosshair down like this. This is just costing you time. And now, like, this is fine. I don't mind you dropping here, etc. But that was time. That might not have been totally the elimination right there in terms of lost time, but based on how much you were hitting her when you were shooting at her, you probably had her down to less than 1 bar if you'd stayed on her the whole time, and you had plenty of shots left. And, you know, obviously with a little better aim, you could have had her.
Essayons encore une fois.
No one can hide from my sight.
Yeah, that can be good with that timing.
Enemy seen.
Securing the payload.
You saw the McCree, you choose to go here, fine. Not letting her come back, nice. Too late, you can't peek him, you can't peek him. Now you can, good. We're stuck in slow-mo, aren't we?
Never die.
Again, this is really the same angle that your team is on. You see how this is a straight line, your team? Like, if we look at this, it's sort of like, woo, woo, okay, maybe, you know, but it's a straight line, believe me. It's fine. I really would like you to have transitioned over to here. It's a little bit better. It's still, you know, a kind of straight line, but it's going to be a little better than where you are for finishing some of this stuff off, and angles compromise cover. You want it to be in situations where, hey, the Reinhardt is shielding against my Anna, and because he's shielding against my Anna, maybe I can get around, or things like that. Okay. I'm going to have to give one second, guys. Apologies, had to take that one. Okay, so yes, I wanted you on this wider angle over here. When you take different angles from your team, it does a better job of compromising cover. It also makes it harder for people to strafe you, and it makes it so that they pay attention to you. They're not your team, vice versa. Much easier to shoot at people who, you know, aren't actively trying to dodge you, aren't doing their own weapon play back at you, etc.
No. Helden sterben nicht.
We're trying to fight the super bird. It's not working.
Ashe te vois.
Game, please give me appropriate speed. Please?
No one can hide from my sight.
A close enough fight, okay.
Nano boost administered.
It cannot be stopped.
Go left! Left!
What?
Look at this Reinhardt that's not shielding you. Look at this Mercy that's available to you. Whereas when you're over here, okay, the Mercy's still available to you because you guys have that's your shield. But like, it's just better. It's just better.
Adaptive circuit.
We also still haven't used a single one of these. I don't care if it's at our foot. I don't care if it's over here in case our team gets pushed. I don't care if it's over here. I don't care if it's you just toss it in this general direction, but let's at least get our mine out there to get some value. Like that can warn us if someone like McCree is taking a flank to go, hey, I'm doing this thing, etc. That's not great. It's not a thing that happens a ton, but it can happen. We don't want to just leave our ability not being used for 3 minutes.
Sigma. Walk it off. 60 seconds remaining.
Good.
Not bad.
Heroes never die.
This is fine. You could transition wider, but this is fine.
The payload has reached.
Everything is falling into place.
Welcome to Delta Town.
Hey, blah. Nice.
You must like me.
Let me get back there to see how you grappled. You just went to the right, didn't you?
You must like me.
I don't really like this. It's a little bit faster, it's true. It helps you finish off. I really would have preferred that you go, hey, my team has this, and actually take the more aggressive one where you grapple to here, and then you peek out here, etc. It's a little more aggressive, but I'd have preferred it. You can see you're winning this fight pretty hard. You've earned that aggression. Now you've transitioned here, and you don't have your grapple available to continue to deepen your aggression. Now you can say that doesn't matter because we've won the fight, and that's fair. But I thought you were going to win the fight anyways, so I wanted you to be able to transition, be in your more aggressive spot. Hey, it's our first mine! It's not great. We would have liked to throw it a little bit further, get it like here-ish. Something like this, etc. would be great. But that looks kind of like it was the intent. So hey, it's our first mine. Took us more than 4 minutes, but we're getting there. It actually took us about 4 minutes on the spot, but hey.
Hello.
Yes.
You're here, your Sigma's here, you've got that over there. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Yeah. Powered up.
Come out.
Yes.
Oh, we're just gonna sit here with 10 ammo forever? Okay. Nice.
Regrettable. Necessary.
Reasonable. Drop, drop, drop. Your pocket abandoned you. Yeah, slow to drop there, but that's okay. Your options were to either go, hey, I'm going to drop, or to try to transition over to here, because you had taken out their echo, that was going to get res, but that gave you a little more distance to work with, a little more, hey, they can't get to me, hey, I have cover options, etc. Yeah, I'd have liked the grapple over to here, but the drop would have been fine too, you were just slow on it.
Je ne vais plus te lâcher.
Valkyrie is almost ready.
Allez, toi. Just what I need. No one can hide from my sight.
Your team's back here. Like, Yes, you could supposedly pop eyes. If eyes enabled you to get a pick, your team then, when they were here, would have a man advantage, be able to push 6v5, etc. But I promise your eyes are going to be Your eyes are going to be more powerful when your team is either here or closer to here, because they're worried about your team shooting them from different angles. They can't just all hard sit behind cover, etc. And your team can push with it and have information. Like, you can argue that you can use this ult a bit earlier than some ults in terms of timing for ults, and I'm okay with that argument, but this is way early. This is still way early. Like, oh, I'm going to get picks with this, etc. No, because you're going to have to get picks by yourself, and a competent team will just stand behind cover, and you don't have other allies that are shooing them out from cover or threatening other angles that makes their cover not work, so they have to be in places that are exposed to someone's line of sight, be it yours or a teammate's, etc. So this is early, and you're kind of wasting something that's a pretty powerful pushing tool.
Make yourselves useful. Move the payload.
I feel ready.
Your infosight's about to run out. Your Sigma still isn't in position to be meaningful. Yeah, that minefield was effectively that eyes was effectively, we're going to use eyes so we can try to 2v6. Myself and Ball versus their team. That's not a good idea.
The enemies of Talon will be eliminated. Heroes never die.
Gonna mine it? No.
60 seconds.
You have to drop.
Focus my target.
Okay, let's watch your Echo duel again there.
60
Since
seconds.
the last one had issues. Good.
Left line.
You saw the Echo go up, but you want the Zarya. Fine, the Echo's still far enough away. But the Echo's clearly on you, so you're going to take that fight. Okay. That's where the Echo is. Why is our aim coming down again? Like, I don't mind, sometimes drifts naturally happen after flicks because you're used to flick aiming, etc. But, like, this was very likely to be a flick into tracking, so I'm just surprised that you let your aim drift this far. And this wasn't even an aim into that, it was back into another very low charge flick. Okay.
Focus my target. The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Wrecking Ball is back to defend his title. Now you have my attention.
Yeah, I'm moving the payload. Yes.
Walks among you.
We don't like losing to the Echo, so we're swapping to Reaper?
Just how I like it. Repositioning.
Okay, you don't have Wraith. This is a bit of an interesting flank. Now you have Wraith. Don't pull the trigger early. You mostly didn't. That wasn't great. Couple things here. You hear the Doomfist slam in. That's clearly a punch being charged sound, and you don't know where it's going. So, like, you have to Wraith. It sucks, but you have to Wraith, and you already got done what you needed to get done. So please Wraith. You're lucky that you didn't get hit into a wall here, to be honest. And the reason I say that is he clearly didn't know exactly where the Doomfist was. It wasn't a, oh no, that Doomfist pulled the trigger too early and he had to, and if he was going to pull it later, he would have Wraithed. He didn't know where the Doomfist was. Like, he saw the slam, but he didn't know where he ended up after that.
Adaptive circuits engaged. McCree.
I can live with that.
Yes, group up.
This is my curse. Interesting question.
30 seconds remaining.
Yeah, that's a credible distraction.
Repositioning.
I'm a little surprised, honestly, that you circled this way after teleporting, because even though you have a credible distraction here, this still draws eyes, and your flank is pretty short to go this way instead, which gives you cover against, you know, the echo, things jumping up, etc. Not the end of the world, I'm just a little surprised you didn't go this way. Like, for the minimal distance of that flank, it's kind of exactly what Reaper wants. What? Why did we not hit Wraith? Immediately. I mean, I have to imagine it's because you didn't expect to be alive because you're used to, oh, I'm charged, that's a trip to the spawn room. But no, it's not because you have a nano and Reaper has extra health. That's unfortunate. Like, you 100% should have been mashing the Wraith button, and that means you don't go down here.
Over and out.
Okay. Nope. Doesn't get you close enough. It was the wrong teleport. This is wrong. Finish dropping. Teleport up here. You need your Blossom to be deeper into them. You can't have to walk forward into them to Blossom. They will see you. You will draw all the CC in the world. Even a third of a second delay by teleporting to here, walking around, or walking around if you feel you have to walk around here because it's gets you to the cart faster so that you can drop here is like that third of a second delay can be huge. Like, you have to play for those momentary, hey, they're going to get their crosshairs on me, they're going to bring their CC to bear on me, they're going to bring their damage to bear on me. Even a third of a second slower is a big deal for the amount of damage that you're going to be putting out during that Blossom, potentially get some eliminations, etc. So this was just wrong.
Repositioning.
Like, people can handle this in silver. What you're doing here is like, okay, maybe not because like at least you had some high ground, etc. But you're walking right at them from the direction they're looking. Yes, they're looking at your ball, but they can clearly see you up here. Yeah, that Mercy knew you were coming. That Reinhardt knows that you're there and is prepared. He's doing something dangerous, but he knows that you're here. Yeah, and you going down again, if you have fire come on you a third of a second later, a third of a second deeper into your Blossom, you last at least a third of a second more, but more importantly, you might potentially last longer than that because that third of the second can be the difference of, oh, I did more damage, I got more elimination, so now instead of lasting a third of a second more, I last a second more, 3/4 of a second more, 2/3 of a second more, and it builds on top of itself because you get eliminations, etc. Okay, so basically pathing. You went for some of the more obvious. You went that way rather than going around. You went that way with Reaper. Both of those were a little too obvious. Reaper wants short flanks, and even though we want short flanks, you can do a little more than you did on those. And with Widow, the biggest thing was that you weren't going for the left firing lane. You kept going down the middle firing lane on first, and I didn't like that. And then when you transition forward on the middle firing lane on second, when again there was the option to grapple left instead of right there, and that would have given you a slightly better place to work from. We had some weird stuff with, hey, why are you letting your aim drift so far from the echo? But I'm not too worried about that. that's not the type of thing that we'd usually cover until you've cleaned up some other stuff.
You should be at peak.
I get the idea. Not my idea of the good life.
And then obviously your mine exists. Please just, use it more than twice in the entire round.
Attackers in. Ready for battle. Ready for battle.
Oh yeah? Are you ready for battle? Is that why you're nodding?
5, 4, 3,
My
2,
ultimate is charging.
Okay.
1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Where's your McCray? Just late. And you're with core. Okay, I hope you transition. I don't mind it's open, but I hope you transition. Good. Okay, clearly there's a Doomfist. You don't want to be here. Yeah. So, I don't really like you with your group like this. The early TNT, fine. The hey, knockback, that fine. But you really are looking to transition as early as you can, even to something like this. Your Mercy is going to stick with you if she knows what she's doing. That's going to be, hey, you get the pocket, etc. You can afford to be on this off angle alone. You can afford to be on this off angle alone. Like, okay, as soon as you used your weapon there to push back the Winston, you've contributed what you were going to here. You got your TNT, you got the earliest possible shot you could from behind the barrier, and now you transition out here and you're ready to do work, etc. And your Mercy is still going to pocket you because she can crouch behind a little bit of cover, she can jump between the two of you, but she's mostly going to hang out with you in most situations. So it's not dangerous to be alone out there. I feel like 3 shots into a wall, which is a little more than I'm comfortable just letting go. That's a wall. Oh, was it only 1 shot?
This is not your time.
I might be guilty of hyperbole in this one instance.
Hallelujah. Let's do that out there.
1. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's take one more look here. We had TNT, and this is kind of exactly what TNT is for. When people go behind corners, this could have been a, hey, I'm going to try to TNT toss and blow it up, or it could have been, I'm going to try and TNT toss and blow it up because I think you're going to drift around. TNT is sort of exactly for this, hey, I've hurt someone, they've drifted behind a corner, let me get the TNT explosion onto them to continue to hurt them. Yeah, TNT would have got her.
You get me riled up.
Yeah.
Please give me regular speed game.
Smoke him out of there.
It is worth to punish the barrier. I know it's annoying because your reloads take so long, but that wasn't right. Why are you doing this? Why did you go back here to go, oh, I can't shoot the Winston, so I'm going to push up here to fight more of you guys. Now you can all potentially look at me as opposed to sliding over here where you can free punish the Winston. Like the Winston's in and the Echo back here can't see you. This was definitely a let me close the angle on the rest of the team while I punish the Winston that is in and doesn't have the cooldowns to get out. We still would have gotten that TNT from the right. Now we're transitioning. Good. It's fine. You're done. Nice.
Somebody get me some healing.
Why would we go here? Why would we walk this way when we can obviously walk this way and just go, yeah, I'm going to destroy you guys from behind. I'd be so good with that. That would be great. You have nothing to take shots at right now anyways. You have to reload, you have to do this transition. Okay, you got a couple extra barrier shots. You did get the Anna, so hey, ultimately this worked out. You'd still be about a second from firing if you'd gone the other way, but you'd have a much more powerful position when we did get there. But that's okay. Nice. It's not a good use of your coach there. This is good. This is fine. We generally turn faster when the Winston shows up. I want you keeping it so that you're the opposite side of the Winston from your Orisa so that he can't get both. Why would you do this? Sending him into a wall does exactly what for you? Did this cancel his shift? Did you sense he was pressing shift and were you trying to cancel it? Like, this doesn't do anything. He's zapping your fortified Orisa, not you. Why are you even remotely concerned about burning this cooldown? It does nothing for you and it just makes you weaker. Yeah, that wasn't good. And if you'd held it, you potentially could have used it to try to punish his leap, or you could have used it if he switched targets onto you to protect yourself a bit. Yeah. It works for Doomfist. What works for Doomfist? Oh, the positioning works because then Doomfist... Yeah, Doomfist used an ult. I don't care. And ultimately, she survived that encounter. But hey. Oh, slamming people into walls works for Doomfist. Yes. Sadly, Ashe does not get the Doomfist rocket punch treatment with her coach there. Good effort. We can go for the TNT. I still would like us to have a different angle, but I can accept it. Like, I don't like the situation where a Winston can jump on us and zap both of us and the supercharger. A Doomfist can come in and slam all of us, etc. Like, I want this separation over here. You've got just as good TNT access. You compromise the cover. You have physical cover available to you. This is better if this is where your Orisa is staking out. You could make the argument for here, but that would take too long at this point, so no.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Mercy. Do something.
But why? We have a supercharger going. That team is exhausted. Like, I'm not remotely worried about our team. Why are we using Bob? We have supercharger going. It's doing all sorts of good stuff. We now also have coalescence going, which we also probably didn't need. But even if you look, like, right before you pop that Bob, just the state of the battle, and you don't get as good information as we do. We're in spectator mode. I understand that. But if we look at what's going on here, if you look at the total difference in resources between red and blue, red's got way more health available to them. We can't tell from here what the cooldowns available look like, but we can definitely see that red has more health available to them. We can also see that that Rhine shield is very cracked. And, you know, even what we do know, we know that the Mercy is weak. We know that that Rhine shield is cracked. We know that that Winston is missing some health. That is all information that we have. And we should know our team's relative positioning, which is, hey, we have a bit of a concave set on them and we have a supercharger going. Like, this, we don't need to pour more into this. There's no way. If they're not using ults, there's no way we need to pour more into this. We just got another elimination, so, excuse me, I guess that's our first, but even so, it's our first elimination and we are majorly ahead of these guys based on, hey, we still have a supercharger going and we have positioning advantage and we know that we've worn down these guys' resources.
Poser.
Now, at this point, our Moira has popped Coalescence, which she didn't need to, but that's okay. We've popped Coalescence. There's absolutely no reason for you now. We have two ults going right now. We have two ults going right now. Their Rhine shield is totally broken. Like, what are we doing? Why would we...
Thank you, Khan.
Overwatch 2 buff? Yeah, there you go. If you hear Q, you must press Q and Plat. Oh.
I get the idea.
If the other team had pressed Q, she could have pressed Q, but...
Here it comes.
If the other team isn't following the rule of we heard them press Q, so we're gonna press Q, she doesn't get to press Q. That's how it works. uh... You blew that up too early. That's just a depth problem. The minimum distance isn't going to work here. I know what you're doing. You're doing the very easy version, which is, hey, I will throw this and I will minimum distance shoot it, etc. But whatever, that doesn't work. She was further away than that, and you needed to know that and actually aim to hit your TNT once it got a little further. But it mostly would have arced down, so you probably wouldn't have got it regardless. So this is fine. Probably would have been better to just let it drop and go into shooting at her rather than spend a bullet on it. But hey. Good. Good. That was perfect. You transitioned over when there was nothing to do, took a shot, and now you're back to fighting her. I like this. You turned before she actually took shots at you, but when she was here. Good game sense. Okay. But why? Why wouldn't we just throw our TNT in there and then shoot at the shield and break the shield before we set the TNT off? Like, the Doomfist and Winston were protected when we could have instead thrown our TNT like here, shot at the shield a couple times, it would have broke, and then shot at the TNT. Or if we didn't break the shield in time, the TNT would go off. Or even if it, they reacted to the TNT, they react by spreading out, etc. And, oh, well, they've spread out, and that's fine with us too as a zoning tool. Like, why would we throw our TNT here and immediately shoot it, as opposed to just throwing it into the bubble? That's silly. Don't be silly. Well, or if you're going to be silly in fun ways. Don't be silly in being worse at the game ways.
I stick up for mine. I recommend moving behind my body. Fire in the hole! Let me handle it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Good. Keep our angle. No, don't rejoin the angle. Now that they're starting to press in, we can go, hey, I can continue to work from here, and I'll just shoot at the Rhine shield. Like, even that is better than going, I'll go like this, but whatever. Whatever. Maybe you'll transition back now. Transition, please?
Here it comes.
Okay.
This is not your time. Hero.
This was kind of messy.
Fire in the hole.
You went for that. It didn't really work. That's unfortunate. You get punched. I mean, really, this is a case of you let yourself get too close to your Orisa, but you guys were kind of splitting the distance. Like, you don't want to be there. Whatever. I think you leave that to your Orisa. I think you do. If you wanted to fight that, you went in here and let your Orisa sort of be between you and him so that she's going to take any punches, etc. You know, you'll still get caught in slams, etc. But if you wanted to fight this, you went in here. If you're here, you turn and you're dealing with this. You can't be trying to contribute to this fight that is now out of line of sight. You need to be looking at this, or more importantly, this apparently. It's just not recognizing which fight you're in quick enough. Okay. Well, there's some pre-positioning issues too, but that's fine. File a complaint. If you hear crew, we saw the Mercy and McCree are plat or gold, or diamond or gold, not plat, because they didn't use it. I blame the inconsistencies of what does and does not bounce off of shields. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that either.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Alice. I'm glad your Ashe, you know, was warm. You were hot on your Ashe getting work done. I'm sorry you couldn't get the win, though. But hopefully you had something you were working on and felt like you were improving.
Team up for special attack.
Do something!
You're down 1, but you've only got a max of 2 more fights, and your team is in this, and that Bob should go to a pretty good place, if I remember where you aimed it. Yeah, okay. Oh, never mind. Your Bob went a little shallow. Okay.
You have to watch out for the 1%.
You need to transition. Good, transition. Yeah, we generally want our bobs to end up a little more behind it. We don't want our bobs firing from the same angle as us. Like if we're here and our Orisa's here and someone else is here, we want our bob like back here so that they're like, oh shoot, we have to go deal with your bob, etc. Or we might even want our bob like here so that the bob can shoot in there and compromise some of their cover, but also contribute to this fight, etc. But that's hard to do with the card, so I'm going to be less critical.
Let me handle it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. It's okay. The wins will come on Junkertown. A little bit of sniper play can help, or you can always cheat and run a Bastion. You know, that's one of the, I won't say original, but it was one of the most Bastion favored maps, at least for the first point or so there.
For your own safety, get behind the
Fire in the hole!
Okay. Right idea. Shame you didn't have it when he actually popped the halt, but right idea. And where's your... That's unfortunate. Your McCree's getting boosted instead of you getting healed here. You're the better pocket than McCree. And you probably brought your stickies into your Mercy, but hey.
Cheers, love! The cavalry's here!
Adaptive circuits engaged. Wrecking
No, we don't go... Okay, fine.
victory.
Okay. So... We've got some things. We talked about Widow. We talked about, hey, using the mines. We talked about taking that left firing lane. On our Ashe, we had some similar things. How do I want to best get into this with our Ashe? We talked a little bit about Bob, but that's not really what I want. We talked some about target priority, but I don't think that's really what I want either. I think this is going to be another angles video. So it is going to be a case of, hey, for our Orisa's here, we don't need to be here. We can shoot here when these are the only shots to be had, but we want to transition over to here faster than we do. We also want to understand what we're fighting. You know, we don't want to be trying to look at the Doomfist when the Doomfist is tucked deep in here. We'll take the fights that's here. If a Winston jumps and lands under us and there's an Echo right there, we could fight the Echo and the team that's supporting her, or we could rotate out here and just punish the Winston in. That's kind of free. That's a thing that we should do, etc. Again, when we're on first, it's like, oh, hey, we can take this angle rather than firing on the same angle as our team. When we're here, I don't mind the early TNT, but I want us to transition out to this angle. You have a mercy potentially. You have the coach gun to move yourself or move yourself back to your team. Your team can better peel for you if you're a little bit away from them with the type of team that you had where it's like, hey, we can shoot at you. Maybe not better because you had a McCree and such, but like you want to be able to go, hey, we're playing from different angles. We relieve pressure better by denying them angles, by compromising their cover, etc. So you've sort of got angles, but you've still got level up room to do on your angles. Like you don't stay here with your Orisa, you angle out here. You can even sometimes thinking about going here. Not you can't live here, but you can think about going here. And when you're attacking, again, I don't love this transition when you're up by 3. I prefer the more aggressive transition. Understand what you've got. Do you want to take a shot there? Do you want to continue to wander here and take your shot from here? Like that's okay with me. On the other hand, this one, when you were not significantly up, you walked your way up here, put yourself on the same sight line. This was too dangerous, etc. Should have been instead the transition up to here. So that's what I'm mostly going to say. It's an angles thing. You've still got to understand the angles. We could talk about, hey, don't ult when your team has multiple ults going and you're up, in resources. You can tell that their shield's broken. You can tell that you're winning the fight. You have better positioning. Don't ult like we saw there. Or we could talk about the Widow Mines, etc. Like, hey, that you have the ability. Let's not forget about it. Like, it's not a huge, wonderful ability. It's far from the best ability in the game, especially in the matchup that you had, but it's not nothing. Even if you're putting it at your feet in case it survives an Echo Barrage when Echo dives you, hey, at least you've got it, etc. Or you can watch a flank, and then you get to spend a little less mental energy on that flank, etc., even if it's unlikely that the McCree is going to go flank, etc. So it's still something. So those are sort of what I'm going to leave you with, but it's mostly going to be think about your angles, work on your angles, go, hey, is there a better angle? Should I be transitioning to an angle that's different from my team, etc.? And the answer most of the time on Ashe is going to be yes. You're a sniper, you have range, you have very good range. Yes, you don't go as deep as a Widow does because you want to be close enough to get your TNT off a lot of the time, but you can also do good work from an angle like this, etc. Though from this particular angle, you run Widow. Okay, I hope that makes sense. If you have questions, you can, of course, let me know. If anyone has questions, you can throw them up in chat as well. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that does help out quite a bit. Or if you are looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of events, promos we have coming up, all sorts of good stuff like that. Okay, reading through chat, reading back through chat. You were waiting for this point to be made. I don't know which point. Sorry, I don't know when that was posted. Solid. Ever tie on payload was at this checkpoint before the door opens. Okay. Had an amazing game with Sigma and Numbani. Oh, that is a nice game. On you. Okay. And you started playing about a month ago. Okay, well, keep at it. It is a fun game. Some of the teammates can definitely be frustrating, but this is a fun game. I recognize once you get a little more comfortable with it, you go see if you can get into some organized play. If you can find a couple dedicated blocks a week, even if it's just like 4 hours a week of I can consistently play during 2 hours here, 2 hours here, I do recommend that. Whatever level you're at, organized play is the most fun way to play this game by a lot. That said, don't stick too hard with your organized team. As you guys improve at different rates, it's okay to go your separate ways, but I do recommend finding one. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know yet, Game Buster. I'd like to do another stream, but I have some stuff with other job that may be demanding my attention. I'm gonna have to check between potential streams to find out. So if I'm live again, it'll be within the next 10 minutes. If not, it'll be a couple hours before I go live again. Okay. That's what I've got here. So thanks, guys. Temporal out.